Hi friends, it's Deanna Wilson with Our Blooming Catholic Life. And before I forget, let me do this book review now. I just mentioned it in Lectio Divina. I was just filming. It was Lectio Divina on Psalm 50, verses 1 through 3, number 3, the heart of the matter. And it led me to bring up this book. You can see the Sacred Heart of Jesus in the book. What is this book? It's a children's book. You can see it's quite large. It is a picture book. I love on the front and the back you have the image in color. It's not in color inside. Could your child color it? Perhaps they could. It is My Path to Heaven, A Young Person's Guide to the Faith by Jeffrey Bliss, who was a Jesuit. Illustrations by Carol Hauslander. It's published by Sophia Institute Press out of Manchester, New Hampshire. This copyright is 1997 by Sophia Institute Press and printed in the United States of America, but it was originally published in New York in 1936 by Sheed and Ward under the title A Retreat with St. Ignatius in Pictures for Children. This 1997 edition contains slight editorial revisions to remove anachronisms and correct infelicities in style. So just some brief style changes. Father Bliss was born in 1874. The table of contents is pretty easy peasy if you're using this as a lesson book or to give a child a retreat. You could do it that way too. So let's jump in to, it says, how to use this book. Let's find out what it says. This book is based on the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius of Loyola. And you'll see here there are some footnotes telling you who he is. It's small print, so it's not really distracting you, but it is there in a footnote. It is divided into 12 parts. Each part shows a picture and tells what the picture is about. Study only one picture each day. When you begin to read this book, look first of all at the picture. Start this over again. Number 1. When you begin to read this book, look first of all at the first picture. Look all over it just long enough to get curious as to what it is all about. 2. Then read the print on the pages that follow the picture. Read all of this explanation very slowly. It would be better to read it twice. 3rd, turn back to the picture and look at it for as long as you like. There may be some things in the picture you still don't understand, so read the explanation once more. 4, then read the yes or no questions and see if you can answer them all. When you're not sure whether the answer is yes or no, ask a grown-up. 5, when you say your night prayers, think for a moment about the picture and tell God what you think. This book was made especially for the child crusaders of the Apostleship of Prayer, which was once called the League of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. You will see that the crusaders are sometimes mentioned in the explanations and shown in the pictures. It tells you at the bottom that crusaders are soldiers for Jesus. They help him in the battle to fight sin and save souls. They are shown with crosses on their clothes. Now, I will stop to say that in my vast experience of a whopping 2 Ignatian retreats, they normally do give you time limits. And so thinking about the child that you're going to have doing this book, and I think it says somewhere it's best for children's 9 to 12. But it tells you that even non-readers may enjoy or get some benefit from the rich illustrations. You may want to consider, based on the individual child, giving them time limits to do the certain tasks. So let's go ahead and just look at the first one. Here is the first image. You can see there's quite a lot in there. And as you're reading, it says at the bottom of that, God made me for himself, and he made all other things to get me to him. So that is a part of the picture. So look at the picture, then I'd read this little words underneath, and then go back and see what I can see in the picture. And the big chapter title on the next one is Made for God. So it's very clear what this is about. God making me. And why did he make me? He made me for God. The young boy at the bottom of the picture is supposed to be just made or created by God. This is why the 2 lines come down from God's hands onto his head. God has told the angels to get him ready to do what God has made him for. This is because whatever God makes, he makes it for something. just as we do. If we make a dress, it is to wear, and that settles the shape. If we make a knife, it is to cut. If a knife is well made, it is sure to cut because it has no choice about it. But the boy in the picture is not sure what he was made for, because he has a choice. He is free. God made me to love him. This boy was made to love God, and in order to love, you must be free. This means that you must be able to say, I will not love. The stars can't love God, who made them so beautiful, because they are not free. In order to love God, you must know him and honor him and do his will. This boy was made to do all that, and by doing that, to save his soul and go to heaven and be happy with God forever. God made all other things to help me love him. And now what about all the other things God has made? All the powers this boy has in his body and soul, and all the things he comes across during his life, the sun and the moon and the stars and the animals and the trees and the flowers, and all the things the boy will feel, joys and sorrow, troubles and good fortune, friendship and loneliness, being ill and being well, and temptations and graces, and all the things the boy will do, eating and sleeping and walking and talking and working and studying and playing. Did God make all these things too? Yes, of course. And what for? Here is the wonderful answer, and I'll let you find out when you read the book. Now, I'll give you just a short sample of the questions and how you find out what the answers are. So at the end, it has a list of, this case, 12 questions that say yes or no at the top, and they're numbered out. Did God make you? Does he want you? Does he want you because he loves you? Are you able to eat and sleep and walk and play? Is this what God made you for? Is there some one thing God made you to do? Is it something that stones and stars and plants and animals can't do? Is it to love? And so we're down all the way to question 8. At the end of the 12 questions, there's a little hint that says 8 yeses and 4 nos. So it doesn't tell you which is which, but it does give you a great hint of how many yeses and how many nos. And then that's it, and you begin on the next page. So this one has the picture, 1, 2, 2.5 pages, 2 sides of pages, basically 1 page front and back, with text a little bit more, and then the yes or no questions. Let me see. The next one is just 1 page front and back, and then again 12 questions. The book is set up much that way. In the back, it does take you through the whole of the faith. In the back, let's see here. A closer look at there's appendices. A closer look at the pictures. Now that you have finished reading this book, it's time to take a closer look at the pictures. They're full of surprises that you will enjoy finding. After you look more closely at the pictures, you will understand even more about the chapters you have read. And so in the one made for God, where God made me for himself, and he made all other things to get me to him. So it's a summary of the chapter. And then number 1 says, in this picture are the Latin words laus Deo, meaning praise to God. Can you find them? 2, God filled the universe with wonderful things, from tiny insects to huge stars. How many of these can you find in the picture? And it gives you little things to go searching for in the big pictures. Sometimes they're words, sometimes they're concepts. Sometimes it gives you a little bit more detail about what's going on. Again, it starts very simple, doesn't it? Where you just find the different animals. You could start a conversation about that. How could a swallow help you to get to God? Can a swallow love God? So you can use your yes and no questions and some other concepts from it to enrich it for the child as well. Let's see here. I think that's it. There's a little biography about the authors in the back about Father Bliss. It says Geoffrey Bliss, 1874 to 1952, was a Jesuit priest, writer, and teacher. He was born in Oxford, England, and was one of 12 children. After attending school in England, he entered the Society of Jesus at age 18. I'll let you to find out more about him, as well as Carol Houselander. Her name is actually Frances Carol Houselander, and she lived from 1901 to 1954, and she was born in Bath, England in 1901. Carol, as she is known, and her sister were baptized in the Catholic Church in 1907. Her parents separated when she was 9 years old. She was then sent to convent schools until she was 16. Personal troubles led her away from the Catholic Church for a while. During these years, she went to St. John Wood's art school in London. She worked at many jobs and tried other religions. In her 20s, she returned to the Catholic Church. and she worked for the church as a painter and wood carver. And there are many more wonderful things about Carol in this book. It then also gives you a little bit more about Sophia Institute, which is a nonprofit institution seeking to nurture the spiritual, moral, and cultural life of souls and to spread the gospel of Christ in conformity with the authentic teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. It gives you a little bit more and then a number of websites that you can use to contact them and find out more. What are some of the faith basics covered in the book? This is from the back of the book. It says it talks about faith, hope, love, salvation, man's fall, the nativity, God's will, Christ's passions, angels, the Trinity, heaven and hell, the incarnation, and the sacraments. There's also free will, a great gift and a great responsibility. God's overwhelming mercy and patience. God's generosity, why he deserves all our love. Heaven, why now is the time to begin seeking it. The promise of victory to those who try to be holy. How your child can avoid the devil's snares. The 3 ways to help your child make good choices, and much, much more. And it says, for your child, a ringing call to holiness. My Path to Heaven is an old-fashioned retreat in a book for children to help them ponder the truths of the faith and call them to live lives of holiness in accordance with those truths. Based on the traditional St. Ignatius retreat, trusted by Catholics for centuries, and adapted particularly for children, this clear, simple, thoughtful presentation of the faith is ideal for parents seeking to form their children in holiness. It is serious. It acknowledges and speaks to the deep seriousness that attentive parents knows lies in the hearts of even the very youngest children. Practical. It emphasizes proper devotion and right action, not feelings. Substantial. It considers central points of the faith, see the details that we just discussed at the right, and addresses the issue that face every Christian, even the youngest. Prayerful. It speaks reverently of holy things, inspiring children to develop reverence towards Jesus, Mary, and the saints. It is instructional. Chapters conclude with questions to help children reveal what they've learned and to help them choose to strive for holiness. It is scriptural. Chapters include numerous scripture references, and it is captivating. The pictures keep the attention of the most restless children as they discover in them exciting details of the faith. It also lists some other books done by the author and illustrator that children might like. It runs roughly $15. It is a lovely book. I've enjoyed reading it. I'm getting ready to do that an Ignatian retreat again, and so it was a nice review of the material, an introduction for some. But the pictures will always be there that I can ponder as well, which is a lovely thought in my meditations. Perhaps I'll go back on the appropriate days and grab those pictures. Friends, I hope this video has blessed you. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and check out all the books by Sophia Institute Press. And don't worry, I purchased this book myself. They in no way sponsor me. I purchased the book myself. I actually got it through the Our Lady of Guadalupe Shrine in Wisconsin. I got it through their bookstore. Friends, that's it. God bless.